You ever walk into a room and suddenly everything changes? Not because you said anything, not because you did anything, but because the air thickens, the light bends, and people, even strangers, look at you like they recognize something. They can't name, they don't know what it is, but they feel it, and that's why they get quiet. That's why they look away. That's why they make excuses and leave the second you turn your back, because you're not just different. You're not broken. You're not too much. You're not too intense or too dark like they told you. You're the one they've been warned about. And now you're awake. And the world will never be the same. Because this isn't a story about healing. It's not about self-love quotes or morning affirmations. This isn't about becoming positive or light. No. This is about what happens when someone stops running from their shadow and instead becomes it. This is about the moment you realized you weren't the monster they feared. You were the thing that killed the monster. And every manipulator, every energy thief, every fake spiritual guru who ever tried to drain you, they felt it the second it happened. They don't talk about it out loud, but in their covens, in their group chats, in their late-night rituals, they whisper your name like a curse they can't control. Because you didn't just evolve, you mutated, and now you exist on a frequency they can't hack, can't hex, can't even detect, unless they're already falling apart just being near you. Let's talk about how it really started. Not with a spell, not with a vision, not with some divine download. It started with silence. The silence after the betrayal. The silence after the lie. The silence after you realized no one was coming to save you. And in that silence, something inside you snapped, but not the way they think. Not a breakdown, an activation, that moment in the mirror when you stopped apologizing for existing, when you stopped trying to shrink, when you looked at yourself, really looked, and said, I'm done. That wasn't weakness. That was the birth of something ancient, something untraceable, something that doesn't belong in this world, because it rewrites it. And the second that happened, the energetic grid shuddered. Every psychic, every witch, every person who plays games with energy. They felt it, like a tremor in the spiritual atmosphere, like their candles flickered for no reason, like their protection spells suddenly failed, not because you attacked, but because your presence alone dissolves illusion. You don't need rituals. You don't need crystals or moon phases or chants in dead languages, because you are the ritual. You are the spell. You are the energy they've been stealing from others, now radiating from you like a storm they can't escape. And that's when they realized you're not prey. You're the apex, and they've been hunting the wrong species. This whole time, see, most spiritual people, they're not powerful. They're desperate. They use magic because they're afraid. They cast spells because they can't face the truth. They manipulate energy because they were taught they weren't enough on their own. But you were broken. So many times, you stopped needing to be fixed. You were lied to. So often, you developed a sixth sense for deception. You were abandoned so completely. You learned how to survive on nothing. And in that emptiness, you found a power that feeds itself. And now Now when someone tries to manipulate you, it doesn't work. They throw guilt at you. You don't flinch. They weaponize shame. You laugh. They send negative energy. You absorb it. And worse, you send it back, amplified, like their attack was just fuel for your fire, like their curse was a gift they didn't know they were giving. And that's when the panic sets in, because they've never seen anything like this. They've hexed people before. They've bound others. They've drained energy for years. But you're like trying to poison a volcano. It just erupts harder. You don't defend. You metabolize. Every lie, every betrayal, every attempt to control you. You turned it into strength. Not through effort. Not through willpower. Through existence. By simply refusing to die. And in that refusal you became something new, something beyond human, something the old rules don't apply to. And the witches, they know, they feel it when you walk into a room. It's not just that their energy drops, it's that their power stops working, their mirrors crack, their sigils fade, their rituals fail. Not because you disrupted them, but because your aura creates a dead zone for artificial energy, like you're a black hole for fake power, and they can't explain it. So they make up stories. They say you're protected by higher forces. They say you're cursed or dangerous. They say you're too dark, because they can't handle light that doesn't come from their rituals. But the truth, you're not protected. You're the protection. You're not dangerous. You're the antidote. And they're not afraid of what you'll do. They're afraid of what you are, because you've done the one thing they could never do. You stopped needing their system. You withdrew your consent. You stopped believing in their games. And in doing that, you exposed the whole thing as a construct. A web of control built on fear, trauma, and borrowed energy. And now, you exist outside of it. You don't play. You don't engage. You don't retaliate. You just are. And that's what terrifies them, because you don't have to do anything. Your attention is enough. When you look at someone, really look, they feel seen. Not just their face, not just their words, but the lie behind their eyes, the fear behind the smile, the emptiness behind the performance. And that's when they break, not because you attacked, because truth demands alignment, and anyone living a lie can't survive your gaze. That's why they avoid you. That's why they get busy when you approach. That's why their confidence evaporates when you're near. It's not personal. It's biological, like a parasite sensing the immune system waking up, like a shadow, realizing the sun just rose. And the craziest part? You didn't try to become this. You didn't set out to be the thing that breaks magic. You didn't want to be feared. You just wanted to stop hurting. But in the process of surviving, of choosing yourself over and over, you became something unstoppable. You became immune, not just to manipulation, to illusion, to fear, to control. And that's when the real shift happened. Not just in you, in reality, because power like yours doesn't just exist. It reorganizes. You walk into a room and the energy doesn't just shift. It resets, like the universe itself recalibrates around your presence, like you're the center of a new gravity. And everyone, even the skeptics, even the atheists, even the ones who don't believe in energy, they feel it. They don't know why conversations change when you speak. They don't know why lies collapse in your presence. They don't know why fake people can't stay in the same space as you for more than 5 minutes. But they know something is different. And the ones who work with energy, they know exactly what it is. They've tried to bind you. Spells failed. They've tried to banish you. Rituals reversed. They've tried to drain you, and woke up the next day feeling emptier than before, because you're not a source. You're a black sun. You don't give energy. You consume what's false and radiate what's real. And now, they don't even try anymore. They just warn each other. Don't mess with them. Don't send energy their way. Don't even think about them, unless you're ready for it to come back tenfold, because they've learned the hard way. You don't have protection. You are the consequence. And the deeper truth, this wasn't given to you. You earned it through every betrayal that didn't break you, through every lie you survived, through every time you chose to grow instead of hate, through every night you cried alone and still got up the next morning, through every time you said, "I'm not doing this anymore," and meant it. That's how you built this, not in ceremonies, in suffering, not in temples, in isolation, not in teachings, in realizations that came at 3 a.m., when the world was asleep and you were the only one awake, staring into the void and realizing you were the void. And when ancient darkness met you, it didn't attack. It bowed, because even chaos respects power that can't be controlled. Even the devil tips his hat to someone who doesn't play by the rules, because they rewrote them. They wanted to recruit you at first. Thought they could use you. Thought they could put you in their hierarchy. But then they realized you don't follow. You don't join. You don't submit. You're not a member of their coven. You're the reason their coven feels weak. You're not part of the system. You're the virus in the system, the glitch, the anomaly, the one their magic can't read, can't scan, can't affect. Because you operate on a level they don't have a name for, and that's when they stopped seeing you as a threat and started seeing you as a revelation, because you proved something terrifying. Power doesn't come from rituals. It comes from resurrection. It doesn't come from spells. It comes from survival. It doesn't come from belonging. It comes from becoming alone in the dark, with nothing but your will. And now, you don't need protection. You are the shield. You don't need allies. You are the army. You don't need validation. You are the truth. And every boundary you set, it's not a wall, it's a fortress. Every no you speak, it's not rejection, it's a curse on anyone who disrespects it. Every time you choose yourself, you're not just healing, you're building an empire, not of land, not of money, not of followers, but of sovereignty, of unshakable presence, of pure, unfiltered being. And the witches, they see it, they feel it, they know you're not just free. You're the reason freedom exists, because you proved something no spell ever could. You don't need their magic. You are the magic. You don't practice the craft. The craft practices through you. You don't manifest. Reality bends to your silence. And the final truth, the one they'll never say out loud, they don't fear you because you're dangerous. They fear you because you're free, and freedom is the one thing their entire system can't survive. Because once someone sees you, really sees what you've become, they'll realize they don't need rituals They don't need gurus. They don't need permission. They just need to stop pretending, stop apologizing, stop playing small. And one day, in their own silence after their own 1,000 deaths, they'll wake up, not broken, not lost, not healing, but emerged, like you. And when that happens, the whole system collapses, because you're not the last, you're the first, and the world, it's just beginning to feel the tremor